Seventh day of our British Isles and Ireland tour was in Belfast, the capital of Northern Ireland. The tour of the day started with a visit to the Titanic Museum and then to the giant Causeway area. The day ended with a guided city tour listening to the violent stories of communal violence happened in Belfast involving Unionists and Republicans. We left Dunboyne Castle Hotel by 9 a.m. on a wet and rainy morning. We arrived at the Titanic Museum in Belfast by 10:30 a.m. We waited for the hour turn in the small cable car which took us to a video show of the experiences of the people who were behind the construction of this huge steel ship.
It used to be the largest passenger ship in the world, but we didn't call her Titanic then.
I was there from the beginning. I watched the ship race lay the keel blocks. They set out wooden blocks on the slipway to start with, then the keel atop of it, like a backbone, and the frames attached to that, like a skeleton.
Workshops everywhere. It took weeks to find your way around. But the workshops for every trade you ever heard of. Painters, sailmakers, coppersmiths, boiler makers, cabinet makers. I was in the engine works for a while. Very well equipped it was. That's where we built the triple expansion engines. 2 of them, each as high as a 3-story house.
From there we saw an exhibition which offered a chance to discover more about the crew, engineers and passengers that set sail on the ship that was known as the Unsinkable. Using remarkable footage of the wreckage, along with real objects and interesting artifacts recovered from the seabed.
Always immaculate. It's the details that make the difference. Probably why he was sent up in second class. Poor Johnson was going the other way for the rest of the trip. Sent downstairs for carrying his serving cloth under his arm. That after already been warned about a stain on his tunic. Man, his experience should know better. It's the small details that will cost him big. Tips, you see. Shillings and cents in second class, dollars and pounds in first. Not mistakes, I remember. It's my privilege to serve my passengers every meal.
Come at once. We have struck a berg. It's a CQD, was the Titanic's distress message. The Titanic Belfast Museum is located near Hamilton Dock. The journey towards our next destination, the Giant's Causeway, started. We have reached the site of the Giant's Causeway. This is an area of approximately 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, the result of an ancient volcanic fissure eruption. It was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1986 and a National Nature Reserve by the Department of the Environment for Northern Ireland in 1987. According to legend, the columns are the remains of a causeway built by a giant. Then we moved to the city of Belfast. The last part of today's tour was the guided city tour of Belfast.
Scottish Provident building built in 1888 Absolutely, it's one of the old linen warehouses. We dealt with linen quite a lot here, and we made it here from the flaxseed. On your right hand side, we're going to go just by the beautiful city status by Queen Victoria in 1888 as well, and the cost of the building was £367,000, which in today's money is roughly £128 million. So a lot of money. It's made of English Portland stone, and you'll see Queen Victoria right at the front of it. Another beautiful building you can see in the green tops. This is the Robinson Cleaver building. We've now just recently at the bottom got the beautiful ivy. You'll get another one of these like the ivy. This is also a linen warehouse. As I say, in the 1900s, really, Belfast was known as Boomtown Belfast. It was at the heartbeat of the British Empire industrially. We had the biggest rope works in the world, shipbuilding of course, which I believe you're at the Titanic Museum today. Over 1,800 ships built here. We're just going to turn left here, and you can see all these beautiful, look at the sandy coloured building on the left, which is eventually to be turned into a hotel. We just turn left here. Thank you. Again, a beautiful building. This is the Urt building, the brown sandy one on your right hand side, and the wonderful old Ulster Hall on the left hand side. They're all built around the 1850s, 1860s. This area that we're going to first is known as Liz, where all the linen was actually produced. And I'm going to bring you, we're just going to follow the traffic round to the right, please, Mark. Thank you. And this is the BBC on the left hand side, and this is BBC Northern. As we go around Belfast today, especially on the right, you can see the Union Jack, and you will have people that I will call later on, they'll be called Unionists. They would be predominantly from the Protestant faith. The United Kingdom is made up of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is only England, Scotland and Wales. A lot of people tend to get that mixed up. Normal education at schools is all paid for, there's like grammar school, and this is the beautiful Queen's University, folks, coming up. This is just one of the buildings itself, and if you'd like to get off and get a nice photograph, it's nice for one of your memories if you'd like. Thank you. Look at this lovely multicoloured glass window building. The lights have just come on there on the right hand. You're probably interested in how the Troubles started here in Belfast. What was the conflict? We're going to go to those areas very back. I'll bring you back to, say, the era of 1593 itself, and that's the 9 Years' War. Now, Elizabeth I would have been in power at that stage here in Ireland round at that time. Through all of that, in order for Elizabeth I to get, absolute power in the area and to control and support, she sent over Scottish people, and we call it the Scottish plantation of the 17th century, and more English settlers. And they tried to take on the British Army. Absolutely no chance. Disorganised rebellion, and it just came to a complete abrupt end. Sadly, the 10 leaders were all executed, and out of that, nationalism started to grow. They tried to fight the British in a different way by guerrilla warfare. Talking back to the 1916 Rising itself, as I say, it failed. There was the War of Independence, and then eventually we had to have a treaty to try and placate, or but the Unionists, what did they want? What did the Nationalists want? And Nationalists are people who are predominantly Catholic that want Ireland to be reunified, all 32 counties, and under an Irish government. So how did they do this? Well, the Irish Republic actually wasn't even formed until 1948 anyway. But what in effect happened was Northern Ireland was formed in 1921, and you had 1 million unionists against 500,000 nationalists. And beautiful building on your right as well, 1905, the beautiful Presbyterian Assembly Hall. So Northern Ireland is set up, and then becomes a lot of discrimination. Northern Ireland is set up in 1921, and Catholics don't get a vote, they get bad housing, and there's a lot of discrimination. So I call it a pressure cooker that really starts from 1921. This is the nationalist area of West Belfast, and you begin to see this set of flats itself. Gunfire was coming over from the right hand side, piercing in to the actual little flats, and sadly one of the bullets from the police at that stage went into the Rooney, Patrick Rooney. You'll see a name of somebody else called Hugh McCabe shot as well in here. So there was a lot of discrimination with the police force as well, and the nationalists were really alone by themselves, and they started to form what you have probably heard of as
Some of us went down
IRA.
here to write our own message of peace on the wall.
These are painted by the community in this area, and I was trying to help with my father years ago in the 80s when we were part of the Friendship Force. So you can see all these murals as Mark goes nice and slowly down here. You can sort of see all different depictions of different struggles, like Mandela itself, Kenya, that's Chiofad Arla phonetically, which means Chucky Arla, which means our day will come. And you'll also see here on the right, Battle of the Falls, 5th of July 1970, where this place actually erupted. Now, you'll see a set of gates in front of you, and as Mark you can pull in between the two gates. I want to explain to you where you are. These gates, folks, get closed every evening, round about 8:30, 9. And where we're just sitting at right now is neither in the nationalist side or the unionist. It's called no man's land itself. But I do want to stop here because you can see in September we did have the International Day of Peace, and I really like to highlight that very heavily. And you can see we're now coming into the unionist area, and you'll see Lord Kitchener on the right here asking everybody to join up. It's quite sad because a lot of the little shops, they're all working class people who are paying protection money for their businesses as well, because a lot of the paramilitaries, like they would sort of come in order for them to stay open. And I'll give you my own personal story. When I was 9 years old, that was way back in 1973, I was in a Catholic church, and luckily for us the priest had forgotten it, so we all had to go back in. But we did not know at that stage there was a car in the car park, and that car had £600 worth of explosive in it. That bomb actually went off, and nobody was your little troubles tour with me today, so just bear with me a little second. It's actually quite a simple poem. So it's no more bombing, no more murder, no more killing of our sons, no more standing at the graveside having to bury our loved ones, no more waking up every hour hoping our children may come home, no more maimed or wounded people who have suffered all alone. No more, no more, no more. And I'd like to leave that thought with you folks, because I've been working since 1984 in a thing called the Friendship Force that was started off by Jimmy Carter. My father got involved in it. My father's no longer with me, but he always left me one message, and it was I have to continue on his legacy. And until I draw my last breath, I will be doing my own struggle of fighting for peace for all of our children, and whatever their belief is. And really, you know, the essence is difference. None of us are the same, and we must be able to respect each other. And that's really a message I give to the world today. It's a very difficult thing to forgive, but never forget. But please don't hold on to the past. Belfast is a beautiful city. It's a wonder. I am about to dismount. I'd like to say goodbye to you all, peace to you all, and may your God go with you. And it's been a pleasure to meet you all, and I hope you have a safe onward journey and enjoy the rest of your stay on the island of Ireland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rory O'Kane, for taking us to those days of your struggle in Belfast. Viva Ireland, viva! Now we understand why there was this poster in the entrance hall of the Titanic Museum. That brought us to the end of the tour of Belfast. We then slowly moved to Holiday Inn, Belfast for our overnight stay.